Hello there, and welcome to the video. This is 5 easy and fast ways to gain SR in Overwatch. In the background there will be some random gameplay recorded on my main Hanzo Platinum account. This list will be in order from easiest to hardest, so the first one will be the quickest way for you to gain SR. First off, you're going to want to make a game plan. Now it's not really possible to learn every hero right away, so I'd recommend to start with 4 heroes. And what that would be is that you'd pick your main role, DPS, healer, or tank, and then you'd pick 2 heroes within that role that fulfill different needs. So that might be, if you're picking DPS as your main role, you might play Pharah and Soldier are your new mains. One is a hit scan and one is a projectile. If you're picking a healer, you might pick Zenyatta and then pair that with a Mercy. One is an off healer and one is a main healer. And the same thing goes for tanks. You may want to pick Reinhardt and D.va as your 2 main heroes. One is an off tank and one is a main tank. Now the next thing you want to do is pick a hero for your 2 off roles. If you've decided to pick DPS as your main role, then you're most likely going to want to pick a main tank and a main healer in your off roles, as these are the most versatile, and that players that main either tank or heals are more likely to play off healers, meaning that you'll have a better team comp in general. Once you've decided your 4 main heroes, you want to get really good at them before trying to learn anything new. This will make sure that you learn your heroes the quickest, become the best of them, and you'll start gaining SR relative to other players. Now to tip number 2. This one is an easy one. Use your microphone if you're playing competitive play. Communication is a skill, all the same as mechanics are, as aiming is, as game sense is, and communication might be the most important skill. Personally, I was able to gain over 1,000 SR, literally over 1,000 SR by using my microphone. Now granted, I realize that communication might be one of my best skills, so you may not have the same experience, but I can almost guarantee that if you start using your microphone after not using it, you will improve and you will be playing a lot better and gain SR. Now one problem that people run into when they start using their microphone is that they realize that other players might not, so it might feel like you're talking into a vacuum, but you have to realize that you're still having a positive impact on your team and increasing your chances at winning, because even if they're not talking to you, they may be listening to you and your calls, and they may play better because of the things that you're saying. If you're not comfortable shot calling for your team and deciding the sort of direction that your team is going to go in a fight, it's fine just to call out positions of heroes that your teammates may not see. So if a Tracer's flanking to the left side of the map, just say Tracer's on the left, and then maybe your support realizes that and doesn't die to her. Now my third tip is to watch more gameplay of players in the same role that you want to learn to master. So you can watch more YouTube videos, watch Twitch live streams, but try and focus on players or events where there's a player that's spectacular in the role that you want to learn, and try and learn from what they do. If you're watching live streams, you can watch high-ranked players and try and imitate what they're doing, but if you have a favorite streamer who's maybe not so good at the game, you can still learn from what they do so long as you're paying attention to the mistakes they're making and try and offer an idea in your head as to how not make the same mistakes. To tie into my last point, watching streamers who communicate really well with their team can give you an idea of what sort of things you should be using your microphone for in competitive play. For some final resources, looking for educational streamers or the VOD reviews like the ones on this channel can be a really great way to really elevate your gameplay. Now this next trick is to do aim practice. Now aim practice can be really boring and tiresome, but it's really important to do at the start of your day before you get into games. Even if you're not necessarily playing a hero that requires great tracking or flicking, it can be a great way to warm up your mouse arm. I will link in the description a blog post that I made that really goes into detail about how to practice your aim on both Widowmaker and Tracer, which also transfers to other heroes. Now this tip is more important for DPS mains, but it's also important for other heroes who track or flick like Zenyatta or Zarya or D.va. Just by aim practicing for a couple minutes every day before you start playing Overwatch, you can really increase your aim over long courses of time, and this will get you to increase your SR because you'll be a better player and you'll be able to kill more stuff. This last point is probably most important for gaining SR at lower ranks, and that's to push your limits and then slowly restrict yourself until you're seeing the most success. So what I mean exactly by this is to do crazy stuff that will get you eliminated, like going super far into the enemy spawn and taking on 1v5 fights, and losing these until you realize what sort of fights you can take. One of my greatest skills as a Winston and Genji player is staying alive on really low health. It's because I practice this exact strategy where I dive way too far in and I go out of position and I die because of it, but slowly over time I've realized which exact fights I can take, which positions are too far for me, and it's made me a player who can get away with stuff, and at lower ranks I can really carry by distracting everybody. This skill is also really intensive because every couple hundred SR that you gain, you'll have to reassess your strategy for this. Certain players at different SR ratings will punish you more or less, so every once in a while you have to reassess your strategy, and maybe you can actually go more aggressive than you have been in the past. By constantly practicing and readjusting this skill, you'll know your exact survivability, and you'll know how far you can push yourself and push the enemy team. It's important to note that all your different heroes that you've selected will have different survivability, so you have to constantly be reassessing their unique survivability, and at different SR ratings you'll have to readjust your strategy for how you can play with each of your mains. Thank you for liking and subscribing to the channel. If you want to check out other resources, there are plenty of other videos on the channel that can help you gain SR fast and become a better Overwatch player. Check out my website owcoachscott.com for blog posts and updates, as well as individual and team Overwatch coaching. Now feel free to watch the rest of this Hanzo gameplay in peace.
Nice. Lucio bouncing around the point. Good work, team. Yeah, good teamwork.